So here we have a syringe of ordinary Restylane with a 32 gauge needle, which is a very fine needle, smaller than is commonly used to inject fillers. Now the advantage of the Artiste system is that if I had to press the plunger on the syringe, which is where it normally is, my hand would be back here, my thumb would be back here, and I would be holding the syringe and plunger way back, which means fine control over the tip of the needle is actually quite hard. The advantage of Artiste is that I can hold the syringe right up here and that way, or as a pencil in that way, much nearer the needle, and enabling me to give these very fine small boluses of injection. And the actual pressure will be provided by the air system in the syringe and the Artiste, and I will be delivering it by using the foot pedal to deliver. And Christine, the foot pedal actually does deliver a slight clicking, whooshing sound. Okay, so we'll make a little start on the upper lip. Each press of the plunger delivers a micro quantity of filler. Conventionally, because of the worry about over-volumizing the upper lip, we would use one of the thinner Restylane products like Vital or Touch. But the advantage of the Artiste system is that I can deliver standard Restylane through a very fine needle, and that gives us the advantage of perhaps a little greater longevity compared to Touch and Vital. We can adjust the volume of filler by adjusting the flow rate on the machine, but I've got the machine set fairly low, which in combination with the very fine needle means that actually each press of the Artiste button delivers really only a few microliters of filler, which means that each line we puncture several times. We just keep going back and slowly building up the fill in each line without adding too much volume. And because of the fineness of the needle and the control afforded by the Artiste system, we're able to do multiple punctures with causing very little bleeding and also along with that very little bruising. One very quickly gets used to operating the foot pedal, and it's very comfortable. It just sits below one's foot, and you can deliver the longer one holds the pedal down, the greater the delivery. So in fact you can do a little bit of linear threading by holding down. And we'll have these lines treated with probably about 0.25 of a mil, perhaps a little bit more, but you know, that's the great advantage of the Artiste and the 32 gauge needle system, is that we're treating lines without adding that excess volume to the lip, which is what clients all worry about, is not having an over full upper lip. The ability to hold the needle and syringe very close to the needle tip is the key to this technique, and it's the key to all filler injections really. It's about control and about focusing on the area that one's injecting without the need to press on the plunger. And in some ways I think it's a more relaxed injection. I think there's a much better poise and balance to it this way, without having removed the pressure that comes from pressing on the plunger. And I think one of the things I think most practitioners, myself including, wouldn't appreciate about fillers injection is how much the need to press on the plunger influences how one grips the syringe and actually how one manipulates the syringe. And I think you adapt this technique anywhere on the face where filler manufacturers are promoting the use of products like Vital for fine lines. I think this is a technique that works equally well with that, and in fact I've used it for this sort of line down here. It works very well, and as I say, the advantage is actually getting a bit more longevity compared to Vital, which is known to not to last very long at all. And it's now a 32 or even 33 gauge needle, and the Artiste system and ordinary standard Restylane, and by standard Restylane I mean the original Restylane with its sort of standard medium viscosity, is now my treatment of choice for these fine superficial lines. And in fact it has enabled me to offer treatments to these lines which before I would be rather unenthusiastic about treating. With these fine 32 gauge needles, one of the issues is that the resistance to injection through the needle manually is very high, and therefore the pressure that one needs to apply with the thumb is very high, and it does result in blow off frequently of the needle and the luer connection from the syringe, which is very inconvenient. One of the fantastic things about Artiste is that, for reasons I can't fully explain, I guess it's to do with the way the pressure is applied in a more consistent way, is that so far I've never had blow off using standard Restylane through a 32 gauge needle or even a 33 gauge needle with the Artiste system, which is a significant advantage. And the needle blow off is a particular problem with this technique using standard syringes. Now, I remember you telling me that you'd had filler elsewhere and it was very uncomfortable. How did you find this treatment?
I found this treatment very comfortable. I can sit here without putting my fingers into my hands and being frightened. It was great.
Good. So you'd have it again?
I would certainly come back and have it again.